Hello.
What the fuck?
Yes. What are we doing?
Oh, fuck off. Why is it every time you insist on doing this?
We're what? I'm setting
You
up.
forgot the title. That's what
I'm
it is,
I'm
isn't it? You forgot the name of a film.
I'm setting up for a joke. What is?
Well, tell me, and then I can plan for it.
Okay. I'm setting up for a joke.
Okay.
What are we doing, Jordan?
We're going to be talking about a fan-made Star Wars themed porn movie called Star Wars: The Force Arousers.
What are we? What movie are we reviewing, Jordan?
I told you, Star Wars: The Force Arousers.
What's the film, Jordan?
The Force Awakens.
Really? Oh, there seems to have
Yeah.
been some mistake because I feel like I might have watched A New Hope by mistake.
Oh, there he goes.
Worth it.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yes, we're talking about the
No
Force.
one's watching past that, are they?
We're yeah. Well, at least there was energy. We're talking about the Force Awakens.
Yes, we are.
What did you
Yes.
think?
Look, you got. It's important to remember this is not my first viewing,
Yeah.
and my first viewing was somewhat favourable because I hadn't been to Star Wars in a while, and like in as far as an individual film goes, it's fine.
Oh,
It's the wider implication from this film that causes the issue, I
well,
feel.
well,
And there's
this
elements of it that are stupid, and there's elements of it that are visually fantastic, and let's take it from there.
this is my first time watching this
It
film,
is.
and I thought there were some bits which were really good, and some bits which were not, and I feel like all the ingredients are in there for a movie I'd really like, but it's not a movie I really like.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I've realised the energy issue that we have is that you start a sentence and then you don't finish it for a minute and a half because you pause every few words. That's probably where the energy issue that we have is.
No, I don't.
There is a very different style of communication between how you talk and how I talk when we're doing this.
Well, I'm more thoughtful, and you're a little horny rabbit of a man, so yes.
Well, what it is I get to my point.
Well, I do too, but it's the
Yeah, but you take
journey.
the fucking scenic route, don't you?
It's the journey that makes it. Right, go on then. We open up, and we're
No,
told,
no, hang on. Well, let's put this in context first. This is the first of the sequel movies. It's
yeah,
the first of the Disney movies,
yeah,
and it does bring back the title crawl,
yeah.
which is a mainstay of Star Wars, right? It's something that Star Wars is famous for having.
Yes, it is.
Um, so it's very clear from the offset that they are looking to replicate the Star Wars feel. I would say.
Well, I just think that's, as you say, it's a mainstay. That's just what you do in a Star Wars movie. I don't think it's a deliberate attempt to evoke
Well, no,
anything really, but
because we have seen two Star Wars movies where they didn't do it.
yeah, but then not really.
So I'm just, it's. I think the whole point of including it is, it's what you do in a Star Wars film, but they weren't going to fuck with the formula that much.
Okay,
Is for, I think there's more than just always what you do.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we're
Proceed.
we're told that Luke's gone missing,
Yep.
and they're looking for this map to find out where he is.
Yep.
And Leia's now a general,
Yep.
and we've got Poe, the pilot, their best pilot, who's been sent to track down someone that they know, but we don't ever find out how they know Max von Sydow.
No, I don't recall from any of my further experiences to have I meet him either. So
Yes, and Max von Sydow has a map, and he gives it to Poe, and
yep.
then the Empire, or what was it called? The New Order,
First Order.
First Order show up. Poe gets out there and decides, in a very novel, inspired, original idea, to hide the important information in a droid
Yep.
called
Oh my
BAA.
god.
In the first of many inspired original moves that this
Yeah.
film makes, they hide it in a
Yeah.
droid, and he goes on his way, and The First Order shoots up the village, kills everybody. Max von Sydow gets cut up by a chap called Kylo Ren,
Yep.
and
Oh, it's very very progressive of you to take on his preferred name.
well, yes, his pronouns are Dark Lord, and we have a
Okay.
stormtrooper. We have a stormtrooper who is a big pussy and won't shoot innocent people.
Oh my god, what a bastard! All
And
because he gets some blood on him.
yeah,
Honestly,
he has.
just can't get the staff these days.
Yes, he can't bring himself to do it, and Poe gets kidnapped. A couple of things I want to point out
Okay.
right from the get go. I really
Yep.
liked. I was aware that Finn, as we later find out his name, or he gets his own name. I knew that character was a stormtrooper. I've always
Yep.
liked that idea, and I like the way they play it. At least to begin with, with a number of my issues with this film is I feel they should have gone a bit further into sort of the character stuff. But I like
Yeah,
that this,
I'm gonna warn you now. Don't hold out much hope.
I like that this is a stormtrooper who, in his first combat experience, has a fucking breakdown at the horror of war, and later has like a
Yeah.
PTSD moment and basically a panic attack. Um, yeah, I don't like the jokes that Finn makes. Humor is a bit throughout this film. There are funny moments that I like, and there are some that
Yeah.
I don't. It's not a massive issue, but there are jokey moments where I just sort of roll my eyes. That conversation he
Did
has
you
with
pick
Kylo
up
Ren.
did you pick up that Finn and by extension the rest of the stormtroopers are child soldiers that have been programmed,
Yes,
like conditioned?
yes,
So yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Okay. So
yeah.
I wasn't sure how I couldn't remember how clear they made it, and obviously I know that because I think they go into
Well,
it a bit more later.
well, they mention it in this film, and there's also like when they're looking into who this stormtrooper who fucked off was, his backstory. They find on the screen there's like pictures of kids,
Yeah.
and it's like here's your record. But yeah,
Oh no, that's just Kylo Ren's search history.
yeah. Oh, ooh,
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. We'll I suppose we'll come on to this much more later, but I really like Kylo Ren as a villain, as a
Okay.
character.
Interesting.
But we'll explore that a bit later.
I find it so difficult to take him seriously.
I like that though. He reads to me as like a school shooter, angsty teenage type.
Do you know what it is? It's a specific thing that it is that makes it difficult for me.
Yeah, the voice.
It's his voice when he's wearing a helmet.
I know. I like that though. I like that.
It's all sort of
All
slightly
right,
distorted
stop it. I don't like that.
in a
This.
it's just a bit too close to a microphone sort of way.
All right, stop it. You're making my
It gains a little bit too high.
PP tingle.
Yeah, you see what I mean though. Like it's not pleasant, is
I
it?
like it. I think it's a good choice because it's him sort of trying to emulate the Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith type look, and not really putting it off. Like there's scenes where he loses his temper. There's a great scene where he's like slashing up control panels just out of anger. It's like Darth Vader would never have done that.
Yeah, you see, there was a brief moment where I was wondering whether it's better to work there where he destroys the scenery,
Mm.
or with Darth Vader who will potentially kill a member of staff.
They're both
Um,
bad bosses, and Kylo
oh
Ren
yeah.
definitely does. I'm sure probably kill his own staff. I don't really know what the hierarchy is like 'cause it feels like that general is sort of talking down to him a lot.
I
But
my understanding is that they're meant to be on the same sort of level as they are
yeah,
presented between Vader
yeah,
and Tarkin.
yeah. It's interesting how different those relationships are between those two couples essentially because
Yeah,
there's sort of mutual respect and a sort of a cooler working relationship between Tarkin and Vader. But
yeah.
they're both there's an acknowledgement of each other's place in the system. Whereas,
There is of course the understanding that Vader and Tarkin have been doing it for quite some time, whereas we don't know how long those
yeah,
two have been working together.
yeah,
Um,
it's just I like it, and I like by extension the First Order. I guess there's a good film in here. All the ingredients is there. It just needs pointing in the right direction. But
hmm.
anyway, little B8 BB8
BB-8.
BB8. How do they get the top bit not to move when he's rolling? That's
You know, would you believe that he is mostly a physical prop?
yeah.
I think it's magnets.
That's movie magic, man. That's science, isn't it?
It amazes me every time I see him, but the fact that he's mostly physical.
Yeah, so off he goes into the desert, and then we meet Ray.
We do.
And I've said before, it's totally personal. I don't like proper English accents in films.
Okay.
There's something about them that just makes me think it's bad acting, and I don't know why, because it's not.
Mm.
But it never
Well, I
fails
mean, it
to
is
seem a bit
sometimes.
fake. Yeah, but
And
yeah,
it's worth noting the First Order, both here and in later films, are basically oh look, it's that famous person from the UK.
I forgot that. I was going to mention that. Every now and then they have like an officer or something who's in it for one scene and has one sentence to say. And it's like, oh,
Yep.
it's it's what's a face who was in an episode of Hustle, or it's him. I know him from somewhere. Oh,
It's the bloke who played Jojen from Game of Thrones.
yes, yes. It's like,
Wasn't
oh,
he in? It wasn't he in that rom com that set around Christmas, Melody
yeah,
Drums or something.
yeah.
What's he doing here?
There's a lot of that, and I feel like
Yeah. Well, there's going to be more.
I feel like it's very much a case of
We
here.
need someone British and cheap.
Yes, British, and everybody wants to be in a Star Wars film, and you get a little bit of money for it, and we'll pay you well, and you get your little bit of.
There's
But it's just as someone who is familiar with British pop culture, it's like, oh, it's look at them,
I
they're
don't
here.
I don't know if it's the next one or the one after, but one of the officers is Adrian Edmondson, and it's
Oh,
so
fuck
jarring
off!
to me. It's so jarring to me seeing him.
Well, I know Richard E. Grant pops up.
Yeah, he's got quite a big role to be fair.
Yeah,
But he's a bit more. He's got a bit of a higher caliber as
yeah,
even
yes,
you know.
I suppose
So anyway, Ray, we were talking about Ray. You don't like British accent, but fine.
it's fine with her. Yeah, she's a scavenger, and I really like the
Yep.
graveyard of Star Destroyers on this planet. Um,
Mm.
which, incidentally, in another bold, creative move, is a desert planet
Yep. Oh my
with
god.
with traders and scumbags. Um,
Yep.
and
Do you know anything about this planet other than?
I know there was a battle, and it was like the last battle of the Empire War or
Oh,
something.
well done. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the size of the last battle.
yeah.
She lives
Yes,
in a downed 8080, doesn't
yes,
she?
which I like.
I like that too. I
And
almost got a shot of it. I decided
yeah,
against it.
and surprise, surprise, in another creative move, she longs for more.
I
Um,
don't think she does really.
well,
It's complicated because she longs for more, but back at home.
I really like those scenes of her. Just there's no dialogue for the most part. It's just her going about her day, and she's cleaning up the stuff, and she looks over, and there's a really old woman, and you can tell what
Mm.
she's thinking. It's like, oh, it's gonna be me, and she's looking at the stars, and it's you understand. She draws the little chalk mark for the day, and she's been here fucking ages doing this, and
There's this thing that I put a bit later on,
it's really good.
where basically the whole of this movie seems to me very much to be Ray rejecting adventure
Yeah,
because she's waiting for her family to come home,
yeah,
whether she knows they're coming back or not.
yes,
She's waiting for her family to be coming home, and she doesn't want to be away for when that happens. So
yeah.
she spends a lot of time saying. There's a bit later on where she literally says, "No, I don't want any part of this. I'm going home."
Yes. I sort
You
of.
know,
It's a nice little subversion, but I wish they'd put a bit more into it.
yeah,
I wish it
yeah,
had been a bigger factor, and she kept. I wish we got more of that. I understand what you're
yeah.
saying.
Mm.
So yes, BB-8 shows up, being
Yep.
kidnapped by somebody, and Ray, being a good egg, saves little BB-8, takes him home.
Somehow
Yes,
communicating. She says something and it works.
yeah. And meanwhile, Poe is being tortured by Kylo Ren.
Yes.
And Finn has sort of had enough, and Captain Phantasm or Phasm or whatever the fuck her name is,
Phasma.
Phasma, really wish there's a lot of characters you sort of don't need. We'll come on to one of the big ones, which I'm sure you'll agree with, but I don't think you need her. You could have just had just a generic Imperial officer who we have twice in the film.
The fact that they got Gwendolyn Christie to
I
play that
know,
role
distracting.
means that they woefully underused her.
Well, yes, yes, they did. They should have. It should have just been a generic officer, or put more into that character, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have been fine if it was just some generic snooty officer type.
Yeah, it would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good to see her in it, but I'd rather they did more with her.
yeah. Um,
Is this what it's at?
so Finn snaps and is like, "I'm gonna surprise, surprise. We have another original scene of a rebel character being saved by another character dressed as a stormtrooper with his helmet off." And
It's complicated because he is technically still a stormtrooper at that point.
yes, but I mean, optically, it's like
Optically, yeah.
there's another one. Um, yeah, so they steal a TIE fighter, which is a good scene.
Hmm.
And yes, they shoot up the hangar bay and get out. And they have a really good little bonding moment. I really like these two characters together.
Hmm.
I like their relationship when they're. It's very natural, but it feels realistic, and I buy into them. Sort of.
Well, in that case, I assume you're going to look forward to the gay bum sex that's going to take place in a movie and a half's time.
I certainly hope so. Although I'm not sure I can wait through another movie.
Oh well, I might have got the timing wrong. It might be in the next one. You'll have to
Well,
pay
who
real
knows?
close attention.
Is it one of those end of credit stinger thing?
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yes, and they fly out and are almost escaping, but then the lady I mentioned who was in an episode of Hustle charges up the
I feel
weapon.
like her name's Samantha.
Let me
I want
see.
to say Samantha Wharton.
No, that's not her. That's a different actress. That is an
I don't know
actress.
why don't know why she comes to mind, but
Who played Rona Christie in Hustle? Kate Fleetwood. She's also in Harry Potter.
ah,
But yes, she charges up the weapon and they shoot the TIE fighter and it goes crashing down to the planet in two
yep.
halves. And Finn escapes, but thinks Poe is dead, so nicks his jacket.
Which is a perfectly reasonable thing. So
Yes,
it's Wizard of Oz rules.
yes, yes. And he after traipsing through the desert for a while, comes across a settlement and drinks some water that some big pig monster is drinking out of.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray is attacked by some goons sent by the shop owner because he wanted to buy BB-8 for a shit ton of bread. And she said he's not for sale because she's attached to him now.
Do you know who plays for Scrap Bloke?
John Rhys Davies.
No, it's Simon Pegg.
You sure?
Simon Pegg plays the Scrap Dealer Bloke.
I. Oh well, good for him. Um, yes, and then
Unkar Plut, his name is. John
okay.
Rhys Davies might be in it, but he doesn't play him.
I felt like, oh, I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, there's a fight scene, and then the First Order find out where they are, and they show
Yep.
up and they start shooting the place up, and they need to escape. And in a funny scene, they're running towards a ship, and Finn's like, "What if we take that one? It's closer." And she's like, "No, it's a heap of garbage." And then the ship they want gets exploded, so they have to take the other one.
And oh my god, you never guess where it is. What it is. People.
Yeah, I just want to say I was really enjoying the film up to this moment, and then I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, nostalgia time! It's the Millennium Falcon.
Hmm.
That's handy, isn't it?"
It really is. Well, what a lovely. Oh, it's fucking yeah.
So they in another inspired move get in the Falcon and escape from the desert planet while the Imperial shoot at them with the
Mm.
droid that has the data on it, and they have a chase scene around the graveyard of Imperial ships and manage to escape.
I quit. I really like that escape.
It's a good, yeah. There's things I like about this film, and this chase scene is one of them.
I once they're actually in the Falcon, I like it. The stuff leading into getting into the Falcon seems a bit ridiculous,
I like aspects of it
but
a lot.
you know,
I always find it crazy how willing Imperial pilots are to follow their enemy into situations like this.
yes.
It's like, wouldn't you be like, okay, yeah, that I'm gonna maybe circle around for a bit because I don't think I can make it in here, you know?
Well, they're so confident about their ability to fly, aren't they? But
Mm.
really, let's be honest, Ray Nova ships a piece of shit. That's kind of the whole deal about the TIE fighters is that they're mass produced and they're weak
They're
because they can afford to make so many of them.
yes, and they're bloody. They put all their points into speed, really.
Yeah, because they do. There's a point, isn't it, about how fast they are.
Yes,
I suppose that will happen if you have a twin ion engine setup.
it did make me think. You know how in Battlefront or in various video games, there's like auto targeting.
Yeah,
Why does auto targeting not exist in the Star Wars universe?
I think it does, but it's a bit. It has to counteract the pilot in front of you,
Uh,
and especially if they're low as well. As we get this comment, don't we, about how
Mm.
If you fly low, it interrupts their
Yeah,
scanners.
like with radar.
You know,
Um,
and let's be fair, almost every circumstance we see
mm,
a TIE fighter fighting against something, I think the only real time we don't see it being close to something that I would describe as low would probably be during the Battle of Endor.
mm, yeah.
Every
Well,
other time, TIE fighters are sort of they're low, they're lower in like the trench on the Death Star, or they're
mm,
they're low here, or that's it. They're
mm.
low, always low.
Well, yes. And then Ray and Finn fly off in the Millennium Falcon. Do we get Snoke at this point?
We see him at some point, but
Uh,
I didn't think to make a note of him. I don't think
hmm.
not
Well,
until really very
really, you're
towards
not
the end.
making a note of this character who is definitely going to be the main villain of the sequel trilogy. That's a bit weird of you. Um,
Well, I figured it was so self-explanatory. I wouldn't need to mention him.
yes, so oh fuck it, we'll mention Snoke now. There's a point where they have a meeting with Snoke, and he's like,
He's big, isn't he? He's big and tall.
yeah, he's questioning Kylo Ren's ability to do what he needs to do or something. Um,
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember.
I don't know when they. Yeah, okay. First point, get rid of Snoke because I know what's
Okay.
coming, and I don't really think you need. Can we do something different other than the big evil Sith Lord in control of
I mean, it's
everything?
complicated because what you need to understand, and Snoke was going to be the villain of
Yeah,
the series, right? He was going to be the villain of the series, and then the second film fucked it up.
yeah.
So, yes, in hindsight, absolutely get rid of him, but you can't in the context of this particular one movie.
I, I, I mean, even so, I'm sort of bored of that whole setup. I would prefer it if this was
Hang
just
on, you're bored of the setup that we've seen established in the first trilogy and the second trilogy of this series?
yes. I
Oh
think
my god!
I just
I'm starting
think
to think this sequel trilogy isn't for you, Ben.
I just think all you really need is Kylo Ren in charge of it, and he's butting heads with the other guy who's in charge of the army, and it's the Empire who have sort of reorganized themselves, and they've got control of some of the galaxy, and they're still fighting this new republic that's been founded.
It's the church versus the state. It's as simple as that at the end
Yes,
of the day.
yeah, yes, do that. Secondly, I don't know when it's mentioned that Kylo Ren is Han Solo's son and
Hmm.
Princess Leia's son, but it's mentioned way too early. Why
Yeah,
isn't
it's just it's not treated like the big reveal it should
it?
be.
Should be a big. We should hint that Han and Leia lost a child or something, or that something happened with one of their kids, and Luke was involved somehow, and then we find out he's the big bad. But yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
speaking
There's
spe-
options.
speaking of Han,
So we get that shot, don't we? Where him and Chewbacca walk onto the ship, and he
yeah,
says that they're home.
yeah.
And that's the money shot from this film, isn't it? Leia's in it, Luke's in it briefly, but this is the shot that everyone wanted.
Yes, our heroes get kidnapped, and it's Han and Chewie back on the Millennium Falcon, as you say, the money shot, but something for the fans.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought I would hate it, but
Okay.
I like tired Han, which is
Yeah,
basically just Harrison Ford.
at this point it is, isn't it? He plays the role of being so fed up with it all quite
Yes,
well, but that might be because he's been playing that role for about 40 years now.
yes, he's
Um,
he's he's left he's left the rebellion and whatever, and he's just gone back to smuggling and doing what he knows best. And
he there's something about that scene where he's talking with Ray and Finn that I really like,
yeah,
and it's how she knows all these things about him, but they're not quite right. That sort of elevated to myth status where
yeah. Could you
things aren't quite true anymore.
could
The one that stood out was is this the ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs? And he's like 12 parsecs.
Yeah, but that's
Oh.
just her getting it wrong and a
Well,
funny
no, but
callback.
it's wider than that because it's the adventures, the exploits that they've done are things that happened a while ago, and so the detail about them is going to be hazy. And it's been she's hearing it, God knows how far down the line, the chain of whispers about these stories, right?
Mm.
And there's something in there that for me there. I like that. I like how she doesn't know everything. She's heard these things, but they're just not quite right.
I get what you mean, and I like that too, and I liked it when I watched the film that these figures are now, as you say, sort of mythic and legendary figures. The
Mm.
the Kessel Run thing is just a joke for the audience, and I see what you mean, and I do wish they, as with a lot of stuff, I wish they lent into it a bit more.
Mm.
Um, you know, but yes, Han is transporting some monsters for a king, big angry
Yeah,
testicle
on some
squid
planet,
things, and
Raftars or something like that,
yes,
aren't they?
as is usual for Han, he's robbing Peter to pay Paul, and he's got debts, and people are after him, and they
Yep.
both groups show up, and he's like, "I'll talk my way out of it." That usually works, and Chewie says, presumably, no.
Well, hang on. Actually, what Chewbacca says is probably something along the lines of,
Yes, and
a quote from a man himself.
and special guest star, and yeah, that was funny. And Ray and Finn try and help him out, and they're going to shut the blast doors and lock the guys in their rooms, but they accidentally release the Rathtars.
There is a line there that I heard that I really liked.
Yeah.
There's nobody left in the galaxy for you to swindle.
Yes, he's old and washed up, and he's still doing the same shit he's been doing his entire life. And yeah, I like it.
Everyone knows now. Everyone knows now
Yes,
that this is how he operates. He
yes,
can't get away with it anymore.
yes. You're too famous for your own good.
Yeah.
So the Rathtars escape and start killing people, and the Scottish guy who wants his money back gets in touch with the First Order and let them know, and they escape in the Millennium
Yeah.
Falcon.
Nothing overly special about. I mean, there's a thing where they do a light speed jump from basically the hangabout,
Yeah.
which is apparently a big deal.
Well, she Ray says, "How do you know that's going to work?" And he's like, "Well, I usually only ask that question once I've done it."
They fuck with light speed in three different ways across all three movies.
Well,
Just so that we're clear, they fuck with light speed in every single one of these films, and
see,
this is how they fucked with it here.
there
Well,
were
that and the ending that when they land on the planet later.
there tend to be rules in science fiction, but as we've established, Star Wars is like well, it's science fantasy really. It's fantasy dressed up in science fiction clothing.
I think the only way you can really get away with it, if the way I get away with it in my head, is we're not hearing these stories firsthand; they're being told to us,
Okay.
and they are therefore, in much like the stories that Ray was being told, elevated some sort of mythical status.
Yes. But okay.
That's the only that's how I have to rationalize it in my head. This isn't exactly what happened. It's just how it's been told to us.
I just don't care enough about most of these little issues.
Well, it's not that it bothers me. It's just it's not right. You know, it doesn't. It just feels it's silly. It feels silly.
So they escape and they go and see Han's friend, Maz Kanata, who has
Yep.
been running a bar
Oh
for.
my god, you got a name. You did you write it down?
No, I googled it because I was like, who
Oh,
is that? Am I right in saying Glenn Close plays this character? I wasn't. That's how I know. And it flowed. Maz Kanata is a fairly easy name to remember.
oh
Um,
yeah. Okay.
and like
Who was
Captain
it that played her?
Phantasmagoria, I don't know.
Uh,
Somebody else.
it was Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, her. She does it.
I may have pronounced that wrong. She's 42 years old. Bloody hell! Didn't know that.
Good for her. Yeah, so they go there, and Chewie's been injured.
Yep.
I like the scene where Han really likes Chewie's crossbow thing.
Yeah, the bowcaster. He does, doesn't he? It's a really
You think he'd have used it
at some point.
at some point in the last 30 odd years, or however long it's been, but whatever. Yeah,
No, he doesn't seem to have done it. But yeah, it's. I mean, the bowcaster's always had a bit of a kick to it. That's kind of the whole point.
yeah,
Better than his piddly ass little blaster, that's for sure.
yeah. They go and see Maz Kanata, and do you want to pick it up?
Yeah, if you want. There's two separate sets of spies at Maz's place.
Yeah.
So they let the Resistance and the First Order find out that the droid's there. While all that's going on and everyone's turning up, Ray sneaks off downstairs and discovers the Youngling Slayer 3000.
Yes.
Uh,
Awful lot of kids got cut in half by this old thing.
yeah, has a bit of a Vision Quest style thing with some.
Yeah.
Including, how many of them did you pick up?
How many what? Sorry.
How many of their voices did you pick out?
Well, I heard old Ben Kenobi, going,
talking to her.
Ray.
Yep.
I heard Luke going, no. Um,
Hmm.
Darth Vader was probably in there.
Yoda's in there.
Yeah. Is
Yoda's
Anakin?
in there. You get younger Obi-Wan Kenobi as well.
All right.
There's more. There's more of a big deal later on in another film with voices and stuff like that. But it's a
Uh,
there's this bit right at the end of it. The very end is you've taken your first steps, which is
yes.
a sort of tie into when Luke was being shown how
Yes.
to, you take your first steps into a wider galaxy.
Yeah. Um.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so that's happening.
And Finn wants no part of this. He just wants to get out of here because he's traumatized. And I sort of wish they played up that a bit more.
I
And
don't
then,
blame him.
and then the First Order show up, and there's a big shooty fight. And
Yep.
Ray's fucked off by this point, so Poe runs
Oh
her
no,
down.
we've missed a bit.
Have
We've missed
we?
a very important bit.
What?
Yes, we see the weapon get used.
Oh shit! Yeah, that. Oh god. Okay. Yes, the Star Killer base, which, in another major departure from the norms, is a massive round super weapon that it can't just destroy one planet, or even two
No,
planets, or even three. It can wipe out an entire system.
it blew up 5 planets from
Yeah.
across the galaxy.
You know,
Holy fuck!
Red Letter Media says Star Wars is creatively bankrupt, and when watching this film, it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
yeah, absolutely.
it's not like
That's
it's not like you couldn't. I don't think they are creatively bankrupt, but it's really hard to argue it when you've got this, you know.
Would it help you feel better if I were to tell you that the next film does not feature a planet-destroying weapon?
Well, that's something.
Yeah, I can't say anything about the one after, but the next film does not feature
Wait,
that.
so you mean
Do you know anything?
the first one does, the second one doesn't, and the third one does again? Well, that's a departure,
That's
isn't it?
oh my god.
Fucking hell!
Um,
As long as Lando doesn't show up, could you imagine that?
you... Sorry.
I know he does.
In the third one, but yeah.
Oh
Do you know anything about the planet that Starkiller Base is on?
no,
It's an established planet. It's not just some random place that they found it. It's a planet called Ilum,
is it?
and it's a planet where Jedi would go to get their kyber crystals,
Oh right.
their lightsabers.
Okay.
There's stuff that we see in well, also across all the medias where Jedi are going there, and one of the things that we see, if you're watching the right stuff, you can see the progression of the planet being mined out so that it can be turned into a weapon, and
Mm.
that's something I quite like.
Um,
Is that if you're looking in the right place, you can see the progress.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Was Coruscant blown up?
No, because it wasn't Coruscant they went to. It was the Hosnian system,
All right.
Hosnian Prime in particular.
Well, I
The thing
saw.
about it's not established very well, but the thing about the Republic is that it moves, so that this kind of thing can't happen.
Oh right. Okay. So
You
they,
know,
I guess,
'cause
whoever's
like how Alderaan got blown up, you don't want
who,
everything to be based on one planet
okay, but they are for a bit.
for a little while. Yeah, they move around
Right. So I guess whoever's elected president, it's on their home world,
or whatever.
like
I
Star
don't
Trek.
really.
I don't know. Maybe they
The
vote on
fact
it. Maybe
that
it's a
the
road
whole
sense.
political setup here is a bit confusing because, like, you've got a republic who are presumably in charge of some stuff.
Yeah.
But Leia's leading what they call the resistance,
Yeah.
which suggests that she's not backed by the government
Yeah.
against this obviously
Well,
neo-empire organization that are trying to fuck things up again.
yeah, it's
It doesn't
messy.
make sense to me.
Like I
Right?
was thinking, like how the natural political order of things would go after Return of the Jedi, and I figured, okay, a lot of systems are going to sort of overthrow, and there's going to be a swell in rebellion and shit like that, and the Empire has no obvious figurehead, so they're probably going to collapse into civil war. But eventually, you're going to hit the point where there's a chunk of the galaxy that's Republic, and a chunk of it which is Empire.
Yeah.
And I guess Leia would go and be Chancellor of the Republic or something. And I sort of like how she's the general, and again they don't really dig into it as much as they should. But you do. It's sort of like the obvious thing is this is someone who has been fighting for so long she doesn't really know anything else, and she's thrown herself entirely into her work because of what happened with her kid.
This is basically what they do allude to that, don't they?
They
They say
do, yeah. More of that.
Han went into the thing that he knew best. She went into the
Yes,
thing that she knew best.
yes. They've both
Turns
coped in
out
their
what
own
she
way.
knows best is terrorism.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, but it is.
Yes.
However you look at it, she's a terrorist.
She,
Um,
all right. Well, she's a
and
free.
I hope she gets sucked into the vacuum of space as punishment.
No, I don't think that'll happen. Just
Oh,
as long as she
I hope
doesn't
you
have
do.
some sort of magic space shield and starts flying, that'd
Oh,
be where I would
it'd
draw
be
the
real
line.
bad if she Mary Poppins the way out of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, they wouldn't do that. Don't be silly.
No, they respect us too much. So anyway, First Order turn up, start blowing shit up.
Yes,
They capture the trio.
yes. Ray runs into the woods and fights Kylo Ren
Yeah,
or something. I can't quite remember. I just
she
remember.
runs off.
Yeah,
Um, Someone goes after her.
yeah,
Then the bad guys turn up. There's a bit of a fight. They get
yeah,
captured.
yeah,
She gets captured, and the
yeah.
Resistance turns up as well.
Yes, and then she gets sort of tortured by Kylo Ren and is surprisingly adept at pushing back and is like, "You'll never be like Darth Vader or as strong as Darth Vader." And we've
Yeah,
previously seen that he has his helmet.
yeah. It's a
Um,
bit fucked up, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know where I don't know. Maybe he went to Endor and got it. Maybe it was something they just kept hold of. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. It's a bit weird.
Um,
We get someone come back from what we believe to be the death.
oh yeah, Poe's still alive.
I wish they had the balls to actually kill him. I
Yeah,
really do.
somehow
It would
Poe
have been so much
returned.
better. Don't get me wrong. I like Poe as a character, but have some balls, Disney.
No,
Sorry, Kathleen Kennedy.
I
I
like
probably shouldn't say have some balls, seeing as you're a cis woman, but fucking grow some balls.
I like our new trio, and I sort of wish more emphasis had been put on them, and they again lent into more that this older trio is sort of jaded and traumatized and doesn't know how to live anymore, and the young trio are gung ho and ready to get going, and it's like this thing is going to destroy you like it destroyed us.
Hmm.
But hey ho,
That interrogation scene where she's strapped on the thing and the conversation and all that. I am pretty sure I've seen that set up in a porn parody.
I knew that was where that was going. I
I'm
knew.
I'm pretty damn sure I've seen that setup. She uses a forced mind trick to convince the stormtrooper to let her out, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's weirdly strong with the Force.
She's weirdly strong with force. Do you know who that stormtrooper was?
Oh, I think it was Dominic Moynihan or whatever. Was it? What's his face from Lord of the
It's
Rings?
Daniel Craig.
Oh, right.
That one. He was Daniel Craig.
I know Daniel. What's his face from Pippin or Merritt Pippin?
He plays a rebel later on.
Yeah. They just.
In the Lego Star Wars thing, they have a bit where you can talk to him, and he talks about wanting a second breakfast, and it amuses me because obviously it's a
Yeah, it's all these big stars who want to be in Star Wars and like little cameo things. And
yeah.
yeah. So while this is going on, the rebels, we get Han and Leia, which I like. Again, wish they lent into it a bit more. And Chewie, Harriet Walter is the name of the doctor who tells Chewie he's very brave.
Yes, I looked that up as
Yeah,
well because I was curious. I recognised when I was trying to work out.
she was in
Yeah.
Succession and she's Christopher Lee's niece.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, so that was
There's
nice.
this whole briefing about how you have to take down Starkiller Base, isn't there? And there's two things about Starkiller Base that caught my attention. There's a bit where the bloke says, "It's another Death Star,"
Yeah.
and I shoot that down pretty quickly.
No, this is different. This is a
This is
legally
bigger.
this is completely legally distinct.
That's literally what they do is they have a model, a holographic model of the Death Star, and then the Starkiller Base, and the real difference is the shape. Sorry, the size of it,
Yes,
and the way it's laid out.
the,
That's
yeah.
basically it's the same fucking thing.
The lasers are a
The
different.
second thing,
Yeah,
the second thing I spotted is, I suppose technically it's environmentally friendly.
because it's stealing
Solar
from a
powers?
sun, I guess.
It's solar powered. If you're gonna have a death laser, at least it's solar powered, right?
I do like how Han's continuing "I don't give a shit" / Harrison Ford's continuing "I don't give a shit" comes into play because he's like, okay, well let's just blow it up then.
Yeah, let's do
We'll
it.
just blow it up. I mean, that's what we did last time. And I do like there's a bit where he's going off. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he's going off to leave, and he's like, "Well, I came back," and she's like, "Don't bring up that. You're bringing up the Death Star again, or something like that." Do you remember that bit?
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember. I
Yeah,
remember.
I like that. That's like his go-to in an argument when he's losing. And he's like, "Well, I'm just saying, you wouldn't have blown up the Death Star if I hadn't been there."
Yeah,
That's
and
like a
you know,
recurring thing.
there comes a point where you have to cash in on that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I'm sure, and there's not really any good response. It's like, yes, all right, thank you.
Mm.
But I like that bit, and I like I like Han and Leia in this film, and I didn't think I would. And I wish
You,
they.
they sell the old
Yes,
separated couple quite nicely.
yes.
I feel.
I wish they'd done more with it. But I was surprised by how unoffended and unappalled I was at them dragging out these old fuckers.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't write any more notes until Harrison Ford finally gets what he wanted,
yes.
which was apparently about 25 minutes of footage.
Uh,
Um,
um, so they go off to the base and they land and they find Rey because she's climbing, and Leia has told Han to try and get their son back.
yep.
And he goes down to talk to him, and you can see Kylo Ren is again good character. He's like on the fence because he hates how conflicted he is, and he doesn't have the means to deal with it.
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Yes,
Is I believe the line he says,
yes, and
and there
he's
is something quite powerful to that, isn't there?
yes he's crying, and yeah, and Han helps him, thinking he's gonna leave or something and leave the Empire, and
And instead, he
he
gets stabbed.
kills him.
He stabs a bitch, and
Yeah,
Han's like, "What the fuck?"
yeah.
But also, at last,
Yes, yes. Han is like, "What the fuck?" And Harrison Ford is like, "Thank fucking God, I can go back to flying my plane and just
I can
being
fly my
miserable.
plane,
I don't have to.
I can do other TV appearances on things that I actually want to
I
do.
don't have to do this shit anymore. It's over. I'm
That's the last
free."
lightsaber I have to handle.
Yes, and he falls down into the pit because now we definitely know he's dead.
Yep, that's what happens, isn't it? If you fall down into a pit, you're definitely dead.
Yes, just like
Unless you're a Dark Lord of a Sith.
yeah, like Palpatine fell down that pit, and I can't see him
Yeah.
coming back in. I can't see
No,
him somehow returning anytime soon.
somehow is not in any way a way that he could return. There's no way he could return.
No, definitely not.
No way, no how.
I tell you what, there'd be bloody egg on my face if he did somehow return. I'll tell you that.
And I tell you what, same for Darth Maul. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Bad example.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't officially back at this point. But anyway.
Yeah. So Chewie's very sad and shoots Ben,
Which makes sense.
Kylo Ren. Yeah, and then they escape, having turned off the
Blow the
shields
shit up.
using Captain Plasma, who they dumped in a garbage disposal. In a fun
Which obviously a throwback to.
callback. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get out there, and then the rebels blow it up.
Yeah, they have to. Did you notice that bit where they had to fly down a trench guarded by turbo lasers
Ugh.
and then fly into the bit of Starkiller Base trying to blow up?
Why? Why are we recycling all of this shit? I don't understand.
You saw all that.
Why?
Yeah? You recognise all that.
Why? Yeah. Why? It's from Phantom Menace, isn't it? Where Anakin does it. Why? I don't. How fucking hard is it to? I don't understand. It's like it's so fucking lazy and fan servicey, and it's just like, why are we doing the Death Star again? Stop it.
Well,
And when they destroy the Republic planets, it's like, who gives a shit? We haven't been there. We haven't got any attachment to them. At least when Ron was blown up, at least Princess Leia lost family, and we felt her loss. You know.
when there's that bit where we awkwardly zoom in on one particular woman during the planet getting blown up.
Which particular woman?
I can't remember. She's not given a name, but
Right.
she was meant to be a more important person, and she was meant to be there to try and get support for the resistance from the Republic.
Okay.
Is my understanding of it, but they cut it, so it's basically they've left a scene in for the sake of leaving a scene in, even though it doesn't really actually do anything.
It means absolutely. I mean, that could have happened off camera, and it would have had exactly the
Yeah.
same effect.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they escape and they blow up the Death Star. .3.
Too. There's an evacuation. We find out that Snoke is actually a hologram.
Yeah,
Oh my god, he's not actually there. How
Yeah.
big is that man?
very big. I don't.
With that planet sort of destroyed.
Well, hang on.
uh,
We've got. I forgot we had a fight scene,
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
and yes, Finn and Rey fight Kylo Ren, and
Both with a lightsaber.
yeah, and then there's an earthquake type thingy, and there's a big chasm, so they leave it.
How do you feel about those lightsaber fights?
I imagine people were. I feel like I remember people being really pissed off that Rey could hold her own.
Yes.
But she was using that stick pretty well, and if anything, it's a mystery. It's like, oh, I'm intrigued now. Why is she so powerful with the Force? What is it
remember-
about her?
I vaguely recall there being issues with people's perception of how well Finn was holding his own as well. But I very much feel it's funny. You know the battle earlier with where he's fighting against the stormtrooper with
Yeah,
yeah. I watched that with my son whilst you were finishing watching the film, and I made a point of saying to him, "Do you think you could do that well if you had a sword?"
yeah.
And that's basically if you got given a sword, you could probably
Th-
block a few blows and
This is
try and do a bit of damage, and that's basically it, isn't it?
this is what I was thinking. Like, it's not a fucking broadsword. It's not heavy. You don't have to struggle or be
It's literally a light saber.
particularly strong to lift it. It's made of light. It's you just have to swing it. The average person would probably do okay.
Yeah.
There were points in that fight where it was like, okay, I could have killed him by now.
Mm.
Because he left himself. You just have to swing it wildly in his general direction, or hell, throw it, and you'd probably clip him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah. So it's blowed up.
The price of kyber crystals is going to go through the fucking roof
Yeah,
again.
it's a good
By the
thing.
way, just to be
Good thing there's only one Jedi apart from those 50,000 what survived Order 66 and haven't been bothered to show up.
wow.
Why haven't they shown up? The Empire's gone. God, I hate fucking Star Wars.
It's lovely. Actually, well, no, I mean, you got to. It's important to remember. They do mention that Luke was trying to train a new generation of Jedi, and then someone came along and fucked it all up for them. So, in many ways, they probably have sort of turned up,
Maybe.
and in other stuff, Ahsoka's turned up and met up with Luke and done stuff. I don't know what stuff they've done. You can't catch any evidence from me. I haven't seen the tape
Well,
on any official viewing. It's not canon, but you know,
my point is, you got all these Jedi who are established in various other things to still
yeah.
have survived Order 66. And if I'm, Greebnor Bumblefuck living on some
Well,
planet in the middle of nowhere,
you're
and
making a mistake here.
What?
Because what you're forgetting is that Order 66 happened end of episode 3, yeah?
Are you saying they've all
There's about
died of old
19
age?
No, let me finish.
All right.
There's about 19 years between 3 and 4. At
Yeah.
which point we know Vader and the Inquisitors were hunting down Jedi.
Yeah.
So that's going to trim the list down a little bit.
Okay.
Then you've got the events of the original trilogy where you don't really see any other Jedi apart from Obi-Wan and Yoda. And
Yeah.
they both die.
Yeah.
Right? These two very powerful Jedi have both died at that point. And then we've got however many years it is between Return of the Jedi and this, in which point there's plenty of other time for these people to have died naturally.
All right. Fair enough.
Saying they survived, it's like saying people survived World War II.
I know.
It was a fucking long time ago now.
You know what I'm saying, though, right?
I know what you're saying. I just think you need to throw it into context.
All right. Fine. I guess.
We're too far
All
past
right.
that point now.
Okay. So they get back to the rebel base, and everybody's very happy. And Chewbacca and Leia do not have a moment, which they probably should.
No.
Leia
hugs Rey, but doesn't hug Chewbacca.
She didn't give a shit. She sensed that Han was dead, so she knows what's what. We do get a nice scene of her just sort of staring ahead, and she looks good acting by the late great Carrie Fisher, because she looks like deep in thought and grief.
I just want to say they put all their eggs in the wrong legacy actor.
Yeah, I know.
When it came to this trilogy, you can't foresee circumstances like that.
No.
But they put the one person they tried to have in all 3 films is the one that died.
Yeah.
And the other 2 are still knocking about. They had plenty of time.
Well, Harrison Ford didn't want anything to do with it.
Well, no, but they could have.
And
He loved it.
I like Luke as a distant sort of figure who's lost all. I look forward to what they do with him and how they ruin that. But I like the setup for him.
I liked Luke's character throughout the rest of this trilogy. I did. And I thought it was well presented.
Well, we'll get there. We forgot to say C-3PO shows up.
Yeah, with his red arm, that's a big deal apparently.
And ruins as the initial scene with Han and Leia because he gets in the way and says, "Oh, Captain Sir's like, fuck off, you golden prick."
Okay, but was he or was he not better at picking up the social cues there than normal?
Yeah. I mean, it's justifiable that he's in this film, but...
We get R2. R2 wakes up.
Yes. Presumably he's in sleep because he can't fucking stand that golden cunt anymore.
Yeah, and we get we see the map.
Yeah.
And the map is bollocks.
Yeah.
If you've got a star map of what I would hesitantly estimate being about 20% of the entire galaxy,
Yeah,
based on the size of the chunk that we saw get added in, and
yeah,
I've got one of the pictures I sent you has got it, and I don't think it's too unreasonable for me to be thinking that that's that sort of size.
yeah,
If you've got that, you've got something that you can use to create a sort of like a workout where it is, and you've got the fucking X on that bit of map.
yes,
If they had the rest of it and they were trying to find the bit they didn't have, like
yes.
at the start of this story, the bit that they needed to spend the rest of the film actually
See,
getting.
I don't know which side you're talking about, but it works for both. Because I feel like both the Empire or the First Order and the Rebels have enough to work with.
They both have enough to work with if you've got this bit that BB-8's carrying,
Well, no,
because that's the bit that tells you where the end is.
okay, but the First Order have like they can narrow it down considerably.
Oh yeah.
They know it's in this chunk.
You focus the hell in on that one.
Yes, you send a
Like that
load of
20%
fucking load of ships, scan the shit out of everything. You know.
I mean, fuck, they found the rebels on Hoth,
Yeah. Um. But yeah.
but like they don't need R2D2 to wake up to find it. Is my point,
And
because
then,
they've got the X. They've got the X on the map.
yeah. Yeah. Fair point. And then Ray, Chewbacca, and R2D2 go to. Chewbacca's finally been promoted to captain, and
Yeah.
they go to.
Well,
this...
no, he's still in the co-pilot seat.
All right. Oh,
Ray's in the pilot seat,
bless them. They go to
and
the.
funny enough, she's raided his wardrobe as well.
They they go to this planet, and
It's called Acto, by the way.
okay, don't care. Ray walks up the stairs and hands Luke his lightsaber, or hands it over. Well, sort of gestures, holds it out. That's the phrase. And Luke just sort of stands there awkwardly for God knows how long, looking.
That's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, looking like he's got a lot of emotions in his old head. And so while Kylo Ren is having his training, which Snoke alluded to, or completing it, because now he's killed his dad, it's time for Rey to maybe get some of hers.
Bum bum bum. Don't say it like that.
Okay, it's time for Luke to give her some.
Don't say it like that.
Okay,
They might be related. You don't know. It's Star Wars.
well, I have some thought. Yeah, we'll see. So,
Look, we all know who's who. You
well,
know who's who, right?
no,
Oh, okay. Oh, you're gonna get shocked, man.
I can't.
Oh, I can't wait.
Is she a Palpatine?
I can't confirm or deny that.
I feel like I want the trilogy to go a certain way where Kylo Ren turns to good and Rey turns to evil. I know we don't get that. I'd like to see how it pans out to see if that would be like a good idea for them to have gone down that route, but we'll see. So yes, that's The Force Awakens. I
Yes.
liked a lot of it, but it could have been great if it got rid of a lot of the fan service and actually delved a bit deeper into some of the more interesting things like Finn's PTSD, Han and Leia, their mindset and relationship. Get rid of Snoke. Kylo Ren's great. I don't like the general. I think he's a twat. But yeah,
Charlie Weasley.
yeah, I
Bill
think
Weasley.
yeah, I think there's a load of good stuff here, and it could have been great. So I think
Okay.
fairly highly, as with all Star Wars films, too long. So I'd probably put this. Oh, is it better than Rogue One?
Not a chance.
Here's
in hell
my
it's
question.
Rogue One.
I like the
No.
I like the
Rogue
tone
One
of
was far
Rogue
too
One.
high up your list for it to be. When you okay, consider this as an argument.
Yeah,
How much more original a story was Rogue One?
yeah. There's a lot of good stuff
Like
in Rogue
a
One.
lot of your criticism about this is how it's basically just a rehash of the shit we had already.
Let me put it this way: if The Force Awakens was Force Awakens has the potential to be my favorite Star Wars film.
Wow, that is a bold statement.
It genuinely, it would actually, it
That
might,
is an incredibly bold statement.
it might be a battle between it and Empire, but there's a lot of really good stuff in there. I wish they'd done more on, and it's just sort of bringing myself back and saying, no, this is what this film actually is, full of unoriginal ideas and lacking
Well,
in
that's the
creativity.
thing. You can't score it well based on what it could have been.
Yeah,
Based on what it
I
actually
know,
is.
but it's
And
got
what it is the bag that someone has put some shit into and set on fire. You are.
No, it's.
That's what this film is.
Do
The
you?
bag's fine, but when you actually get into it,
Well, okay. Ah, fuck. See, what do I can't. I'm struggling to remember Rogue One.
I would say that realistically, this is probably the best of the sequel.
I think I put it higher. Yeah, this is fourth. This is better than Return of the Jedi. In places, it might be better than Rogue One. I can't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, but you can't remember people's names 10 minutes after you've seen them on screen, so
Yeah,
I don't think that's it.
yeah. Hmm.
Think about what you actually saw and not what you wanted to see.
Yeah, this is fourth. This is fourth. I can't remember a lot of Rogue One, but I know I liked a lot of it. So yeah, this is fourth. Where does it stand for you?
I think
Do you prefer this to the prequels?
I think I do. Yes.
Do you prefer this
But
to any of?
this is the strongest of
Yeah,
the sequel films.
yeah,
I'm saying right now. There's
yeah,
moments in the next two that are great,
yeah,
but as an overall film, this is the better of the three, I
yeah.
would say.
So
Um,
where do you sort of put it?
I'm saying I can't remember what my actual
No,
overall
I
ranking is,
can't.
but I would say it's probably the one in between the originals and the prequels. Although I know I put A New Hope quite low down on the
Yeah,
overall
you
list.
did. So do you
Um,
prefer it to Return of the Jedi?
no,
Okay, so I guess yours is Rogue One, Empire, Return, this.
probably yeah.
So it's fourth for you as well.
Probably. But I mean, it's complicated because again, I've got that whole strong positivity towards Phantom,
Yeah,
which blows me off a bit. And at the time when we were watching it, a new Attack of the Clones was on par with Phantom for me. So
yeah, that had some good stuff.
it's either fourth or sixth based on how I decide.
So I think, if I remember correctly, mine is Empire, A New Hope, Rogue One, Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, The Phantom Menace, Solo.
Okay.
Yeah. What do I
It
prefer?
doesn't get any better
Okay. Does
now.
does
It is
it?
downhill from here. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say it, but it is. There's moments of greatness,
Yeah.
but
Well,
you know,
I look forward to
mostly
being
visual.
disappointed.
I look forward to hearing you bitch about it.
Well,
Why didn't you warn me?
there's
Somehow it got worse.
there's plenty of bitching left to come through.
Just remember, there's plenty of porgs on the beach.
Yeah. Well,
You know what a porg? Do you know what a porg is?
it's one of them cute things, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait till we see them.
I forgot they existed. I want a porg.
You're going to see so many of them, so don't worry about it.
Well, I look forward to Disney shamelessly promoting its own merchandise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right then.
Thanks for
Well,
joining
thank you for
us.
joining us.
We're almost finished this exercise
2
in
weeks.
masochism.
2 weeks to go.
So we'll see you next week for what's the second one called?
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, and then it's The Rise of Skywalker, is it?
Yes.
Okay. We'll see you next time for The Last Jedi.
Bye.
Bye.